The Sandigan Bayan defers the arraignment and pre-trial of former Senator Revilla and several others in their graft case to February 9. This is in connection with the alleged anomalous 92.8 million peso flood control project in Bulacan. In a session on Friday, January 23, Sandigan Bayan's 4th Division deferred the arraignment and pre-trial in the graft case, pending the resolution of motions filed by Revilla's camp and the other accused, citing a different set of criminal information. Only Department of Public Works and Highways Engineer Emerita Capistrano Huat proceeded with her arraignment in the graft case. Huat entered a not guilty plea before the Anti-Graft Court's 4th Division. Huat, Revilla, and other respondents are facing charges of graft and malversation of public funds through falsification of public documents before the Sandigan Bayan's 4th and 3rd Divisions. The other accused are DPWH Bulacan 1st District Engineering Office Engineers Bryce Hernandez, JP Mendoza, and RJ Domasig, Accountant Juanito Mendoza, and Cashier Cristina May del Rosario Pineda. Earlier Friday, the Anti-Graft Court's 3rd Division rescheduled the proceedings for the malversation case to February 9. The 3rd Division cites several pending motions filed by Revilla's camp and his co-accused. The court deemed the motion submitted for resolution and gave the prosecution until January 28 to file its comment on the motions. The former senator is currently detained in the male dormitory of the new Quezon City Jail on Payatas Road in Barangay Bagong Silang, Quezon City. Earlier, while on his way to surrender, Revilla insisted he had done nothing wrong, saying he would face the cases without fear. China's foreign ministry says it summoned the Philippines ambassador to Beijing over remarks made by Philippine Coast Guard spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Commodore J. Tarriela. China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson Guo Jiakun says the Department of Asian Affairs had summoned the Philippine ambassador to China on Thursday morning, January 22, to once again lodge a serious protest. Last week, the Chinese embassy in Manila filed a diplomatic protest against Tarriela over his alleged smearing of Chinese President Xi Jinping's dignity. Tarriela had used an image collage that appeared to be an AI-generated depiction of the Chinese leader fuming in anger, flexing his muscles, and even holding a wooden boat bearing a Philippine flag. In a press conference on Thursday, Guo accused the Philippine government of turning a blind eye to Tarriela. Guo said Tarriela supposedly made inflammatory, confrontational, misleading, and baseless remarks against China on maritime issues. He urged the Philippines to undo the supposed negative impact on China as soon as possible. Tarriela addresses the move on Friday morning, January 23. He says the act of threatening a public servant for telling the truth will not intimidate him. Tarriela notes that the government's transparency initiative on West Philippine Sea issues is working as it exposes the true bully and victim. If China wants to reverse any negative impact, Tarriela says Beijing should respect the 2016 Arbitral Award, withdraw from its illegally occupied reclaimed islands, and end the harassment of Filipino fishermen. Beijing claims sovereignty over almost the entire South China Sea, including the West Philippine Sea. The 2016 Arbitral Award effectively dismissed China's claim and affirmed the Philippines' sovereign rights. Former lawmaker Mike Defensor says former Ako Bicol Representative Zaldy Co is willing to testify in the impeachment case to be filed against President Bongbong Marcos. In a press conference on Friday, January 23, Defensor says Co is willing to testify via teleconference. Co previously accused Marcos of receiving kickbacks from infrastructure projects, which the president denied. Co himself is facing arrest for 3 criminal cases stemming from the Public Works corruption scandal. Defensor and several others attempted to file an impeachment complaint against Marcos on Thursday, January 22. Accompanying Defensor were former lawmaker Jacinto Paras, former Ilocos Sur Governor Chavit Singson, lawyers Ferdinand Topacio, Manuelito Luna, and Harold Respicio, and vlogger Mary Catherine Binag. However, Office of the House Secretary General Executive Director Jose Marmoy Salonga turned the group away. He said he had no authority to receive their complaint in the absence of House Secretary General Cheloy Garifil. During Friday's briefing, Defensor says they will file a case against the Office of the House Secretary General. He says the group is studying its next steps as questions arise about whether it will refile its impeachment complaint. Defensor's group previously pointed out that receiving and recording impeachment complaints were merely ministerial duties of the Office of the House Secretary General. They said no discretion is given to the office to reject, screen, delay, or block such filings. The China Coast Guard rescues several Filipino crew members whose cargo vessel capsized off Scarborough Shoal, while the Philippine Coast Guard deploys its vessels and aircraft for search and rescue operations. In a statement on Friday, January 23, the PCG says the Singapore-flagged MV Devon Bay had 21 Filipino crew members. The agency says the vessel departed from Gutalak, Zamboanga del Sur and was on the way to Yangjiang, China when the maritime incident occurred. According to the PCG, the vessel's last known position was recorded at approximately 141 nautical miles west of Sabangan Point in Angob Bay, Pangasinan, which faces Scarborough Shoal. This location was recorded at around 8:30 p.m. on Thursday, January 22. The PCG says it received a distress report that the vessel was already listing at approximately 25 degrees. Citing the Hong Kong Maritime Rescue Coordination Center, the PCG says a passing China Coast Guard ship rescued 10 of the 21 Filipino crew members. On the other hand, the China Coast Guard says they rescued 13 Filipino crewmen, citing information from its Maritime Search and Rescue Center in Hainan Island received at 1:34 a.m. on Friday. The PCG says it deployed BRP Teresa Magbanwa and BRP Cape San Agustin as well as 2 aircraft to conduct search and rescue operations for the remaining crew members. According to the PCG, the China Coast Guard's action was in line with the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. Under UNCLOS, all states shall require their ships to assist persons in distress at sea. The PCG notes that the freedom of navigation under UNCLOS does not allow law enforcement patrols by foreign vessels.